Hey, welcome back to my channel, or welcome for the first time if this is your first time here. My name is Jenny. I talk about random things that pop into my head, and you don't always have to agree with me. That's fine. When you put your comments in the comment section below, I do ask that you are civil. Let's please be polite. So, I want to talk to you today about the movie On the Line. It's on Netflix. So if you like thrillers and you like suspense, this one was good. And it's got, of course, a great twist at the end. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the movie and why I really liked it. So, and I won't give away the ending. It's got Mel Gibson in it. And he is a disc jockey he's like a shock jock kind of thing, a little bit on the disagreeable side, but he is a loving father and spouse, and he works the graveyard shift at this radio station. It's a talk station where people call in and talk about their problems, and he talks to them. He's not like a psychiatrist, it's not like a Kramer situation, but more just like a friend. He refers to the listeners as his family. And he's a little bit of a jerk to his co-workers. And actually, he was a really big jerk to this new guy that just started. He's in the studio with him. And basically, he gets kind of mouthy with him and kicks him out, like right off before they even start the show. But then he's like, I'm kidding, come back. Because, of course, they need the guy to do his job. And so there's another jockey there that he wants his time slot, but they have completely different shows. The other one plays music, and he hates the music that he plays. Now, before he actually starts his shift, he talks to his boss, and she's like, you need to cut it out, you're pushing it, or your ratings have plateaued. They didn't sink, but they did plateau. And she's like, you just go too far. Well, meanwhile, he's complaining because nobody said happy birthday. And the only person that did say happy birthday was the new guy. And he's like, whatever. You're just kind of sucking up because you're new at your job kind of thing, right? So they start the show, and callers call in, and you can hear them. There's this like montage where these different people call in, and he's talking to them and giving them different kinds of advice. And all of a sudden he gets a call from this guy and this is when the plot thickens, right? And the guy calls him some, a scumbag or something like that, and tells him that it's because of him that Lauren, his girlfriend, has done something very permanent and very harmful to herself. It's YouTube, okay? So I have to say it like that, right? But she does the ultimate thing to herself that you never come back from. And he blames him for it because he was horrible to her while she was working there. And he also says that he was having an affair with the female that's working in the booth with them during the show, okay? Then as things go on, of course, you find out that he's kidnapped his wife and his child. And they go up to the roof of the building, and he tells them to go over near this edge where there's an ashtray, and that's where Lauren, the girlfriend that did herself a permanent damage, used to go and cry when he was ridiculing her. So he goes up there, and the guy on the call says, get up on the ledge, and he tries to convince him to jump off of the building, which of course he doesn't, because that would have been the end of the movie, right? And he sends a drone up because he wants proof that he did it, and of course he didn't. So then he reveals that the cops who had been sent to the house, or you find out that the cops who had been sent to the house searched the house and nobody's there. Excuse me. Of course I got a frog when I'm trying to do a video. So the mother and child are not in the house, right? So he sends the girl back to the booth, and there's another guy, and I don't know what his job is, but he's the one that had called the police. They go back to the booth, or the studio, and they're there, and the new guy and this disc jockey go throughout the building. They run an encounter with the custodian guy, and they find out that he's been stealing laptops, and they send him back to the booth because they realize that the caller's actually in the building and is hacked into the security system somehow, so he knows how they can see everything that they're doing. So they devise a plan to go find the guy in the security, and then in the security, where the security team watches the cameras, which is in the basement of the building, and they go down there and come to find out he's not there, that they did something fatal to the guy that he was arguing with and wanted his slot, his time slot to work, so he wouldn't have to work midnight. So then they realize, oh no, we sent the guy to the booth, and they go running all the way back up to the recording studio, and they have a confrontation with him, and that's where I'm going to leave the story at this point. I don't want to tell you how it works out, although you may be able to figure some of it out, but I really don't want to tell you more about it. But what I can tell you is some of it is par for the course. When you watch these movies, there's patterns like, the kidnapping and the daddy please and all this kind of stuff. But there's also clues throughout the movie that tell you where the person is and what they've done. And then you see later on, oh, that's what he was talking about. Okay. So, there's a little bit of satisfaction in that, yeah, okay, I can figure this out. But there's also some details that you may forget about until the twist comes, and you're like, oh yeah, it kept me interested. It wasn't overly gory. Sometimes these movies do it for the shock effect. There was enough that you knew what happened, but I didn't find it particularly, gross with the special effects. But the story was enticing enough to keep you interested, and so I gave it a thumbs up. I thought it was good. I might watch it again. It's not one that I would put on my favorite list, but definitely something good to watch when you get tired of watching the same old things over and over and over again. So if you like thrillers and you like suspense movies, it was a good movie. It was definitely good enough. And, Mel Gibson made a pretty good jerk. He did. And he kind of balanced it with his kindness, too. He wasn't 100% a jerk, because at the very beginning of the movie, before he left for work, this is what I'm telling you, he was a likable character, even though he was a jerk. So he's getting ready to go to work, but it's time for his little girl to go to bed, right? So he's tucking her in, and he's playing with her before he tucks her in, and, he's got the horse, and he's doing little motions with the horse, and then he's got her dolly, and he, all these different things, and you could just tell that he was a very loving father and husband. So he was a likable character in some regards. And even during the montage, when he was giving these people advice, he wasn't like telling people to quit your whining, or that you get what you deserve, and he wasn't doing that kind of thing. He was very frank with them, but he was also kind in a certain way. So he was a likable character. And towards the end, there are a couple moments where your emotions kind of go up and then they come down, and they go up and they come down, and they're like, wait a minute, it's gonna happen, this is gonna happen, nope, like that. So I like that kind of little bit of emotional roller coaster anticipation type feeling that you get at the end of these movies, and they did a good job with that. So it was on the line, and it was really good. I thought it was pretty good. Definitely, I would say watch it.